Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast.
We are breaking down Chapter 88 of the manga, Die.
And what a title! Oda just slapping it right on the cover. No subtlety, just pure, visceral threat. Robin, this chapter puts Nami through the absolute ringer. Arlong gives her this impossible choice. Join him and let her friends die, or watch her entire village be slaughtered.
It's a choice designed to break a person completely, to sever every bond they have. He wants to isolate her, to prove that her connections are a weakness he can exploit. And her decision, it tells you everything you need to know about the bonds being forged right now and the kind of crew the Straw Hats are becoming.
It's the kind of moment that builds a legend, a story that will be told for generations on that island. If you want to be there for every piece of that legend as we uncover it, make sure you're charting a course with us on this journey. Ringing that little bell icon helps you not get lost in the Grand Line.
Let's start at the beginning of the end for one of Arlong's officers, a moment that in its own way is just as legendary for the character involved.
Yes, Usopp, my man. We left off with him lighting Chu on fire, and here we see the payoff. Chu, this fishman who can spit water like a cannonball, is completely panicked, screaming and making a break for the water to put himself out. But Usopp just comes out of nowhere from behind and bam, Usopp hammer right to the back of the head.
It's not clean, it's not elegant, it's a brawl. There's none of Zoro's precision or Sanji's grace. This is a street fight for survival.
It's pure desperation. He's running on adrenaline and fear. He knocks Chu towards the water, Chu starts to get up, and you see that fishman resilience. He's still not down, and Usopp just keeps going. He doesn't give him an inch. 1, 2, 3 more hits with the hammer. Just relentless, blunt force. Then he busts out the Usopp Wagomu, that giant rubber band, and snaps it in Chu's face to daze him, and then another hammer for good measure.
It's a frantic, almost clumsy succession of attacks. It speaks volumes about Usopp's character. Luffy has his gum-gum techniques. Zoro has his Suntory. Their finishing moves have a certain artistry to them. Here, it's not about artistry. It's just Usopp hitting him again and again with a hammer until he stops moving. It's survival.
And that's what makes it so good. It's what makes him so relatable. He's not a monster like the others. He can't rely on raw power. He has to fight with every scrap of wit and grit he has. He uses tricks, he uses tools, he uses sheer, bloody-minded refusal to lose. And when Chu is finally down, face down in the dirt, Usopp just erupts. He's screaming, "I can do it too. Don't underestimate me."
He needs to say it as much for himself as for anyone else. Think about his journey so far. On his home island, he was the boy who cried wolf. With the crew, he's often been the one hiding, the one running. He's been terrified this whole time, and this is the first moment he's proven to himself on his own terms that he belongs here, that his unique brand of chaotic, desperate fighting can actually win.
This is his first real one-on-one victory against a major officer of a villain's crew. Think about it. He tricked some of Kuro's pirates, he fought Django alongside Zoro, but this was all him. He was outmatched, he was terrified, and he won. This isn't just a gag win. This is Usopp leveling up in real time, and it's because he had to. His friends needed him. He couldn't afford to be the scared kid from Syrup Village anymore.
The lie is becoming the truth. The lies he told Kaya about being a brave warrior of the sea are starting to materialize, not in the glorious way he imagined, but in the muddy, painful reality of battle.
Super well said. He's forging his own legend, one panicked hammer swing at a time. I love it. Meanwhile, as Usopp finds his strength in the company of his friends, someone else is realizing she has to stop fighting alone. We cut back to Kokoyasi village, and Nami is patching herself up.
Man, this quiet little scene hits hard. That wound on her shoulder, the one she gave herself to hide the Arlong Pirates tattoo with Luffy, it's still bleeding, and she's bandaging it up, sitting there with her bow staff across her lap, the weapon she's carried forever, the one she used to defend herself as a thief.
And she's thinking, Her internal thought is so powerful. She thinks she's cried enough, complained enough. She begged for help, and help came. Now everyone else is fighting for her home, and she decides it's time for her to go, to fight alongside them.
This is it. This is the moment she stops being a victim of her circumstances and becomes an agent of her own destiny. She's not waiting to be rescued anymore. She's not hiding behind a plan to buy the village. She's choosing to enter the fray.
It's more than that, Franky. For 8 years, her plan was solitary. It was a burden she carried entirely on her own. She stole, she lied, she isolated herself from everyone, all for the sake of earning 100 million belly to buy the village's freedom. That was her path. Now she's choosing to join a battle she knows is probably hopeless. She's seen what Arlong can do, but she's choosing to fight with people, for people. It's a complete paradigm shift in her worldview. She's accepting the help she asked for. She's accepting that she's part of a crew now, and the scene she walks into is just devastating. We cut to Arlong Park, and Zoro and Sanji are on the ground, beaten.
Utterly defeated. And the way Oda draws it is brutal. They're not just knocked down, they're surrounded by blood, completely incapacitated. A villager is just staring in disbelief. Johnny and Yosaku are there, and they are completely panicked, screaming their names.
They were the hope. After Usopp's win, you think, okay, maybe they can hold the line until Luffy gets free. But no. And Johnny explains what happened, and it's one of the biggest power-scaling gut punches we've had so far. Arlong didn't even lay a hand on them. He just threw water at them. That's it. Threw some water, and it was enough to knock out Zoro and Sanji and make them cough up blood.
Think about what that means for the power scale we've established. Sanji's kicks can shatter stone and dent steel, like on the Barati. Zoro, even wounded, can cut through buildings and multiple opponents. He fought the greatest swordsman in the world, and Arlong incapacitated both of them, 2 of the monsters of the crew, with a handful of seawater.
It's insane. That's the species difference he keeps talking about. For him, a substance that is literally everywhere in their environment is a weapon. For him, it's a tool. For them, it's a weapon that hits like a cannon. It's a perfect demonstration of why he's so confident, so arrogant. He's not just strong, he's fighting on a different physical plane. He's weaponized his own biology and his environment against them.
It reframes the entire conflict. This isn't just about strength, it's about a fundamental biological advantage that seems insurmountable. It's like a human trying to punch a shark underwater. The very arena of the fight is biased.
And while this is happening, while all hope seems lost, we see Luffy. He's still stuck on the sea floor, that big stone block anchoring his legs. His head is barely above the surface, held there by Genzo, while Nojiko desperately tries to get the water out of him. He's been unconscious this whole time.
But then we get it. A little twitch. The panel focuses on his hand. One of his fingers moves. He's coming back.
It's this tiny little glimmer of hope in the middle of this absolute beatdown. The captain is waking up, but he's not free yet. It's like the engine is turning over, but the car is still in a ditch.
A very small glimmer, because back on the surface, the situation is getting worse. Sanji, ever defiant, is forcing himself to his feet, blood dripping from his mouth.
Yosaku is screaming at him to stay down, that he can't win, but Sanji's not going to do that. He's a straw hat pirate. It's not in his nature to stay down. But Arlong just mocks him. He says he doesn't even need to touch them. He can kill them just by splashing them.
And he explicitly says, that's the difference between our species. This isn't just a boast about his own strength. It's a declaration of racial supremacy. This is the core belief that justifies every horrible thing he's done. He genuinely sees humans as a lower life form, insects to be crushed or used. That's the ideology at the heart of Arlong Park.
Sanji's not hearing any of it. He's all action. He tells him to shut up and launches a poitrine shoot, a powerful chest kick. But Arlong dodges it like it's nothing. Not a block, not a parry, just a casual sidestep. And then whoosh, another splash of water, and Sanji is down again, coughing up more blood. It's not even a fight. It's a dismissal.
Sanji's internal monologue is key here. He thinks to himself that for Arlong, this is just a game. He's playing with them. He also notes that those water splashes feel like a shotgun blast. He, a top-tier fighter, recognizes that Arlong is on a completely different level.
And Arlong just twists the knife. He looms over the fallen Sanji and tells him he should just die, that his life is worthless. He says it so casually. Pure, undiluted cruelty. It's not enough to win. He has to degrade them, to erase their worth as living beings. And then she arrives.
Nami. She just appears at the entrance of Arlong Park. The way she's framed, walking through the gate, staff in hand, it's a hero shot. Everyone is shocked. The villagers, Johnny, Yosaku, Arlong himself.
Arlong has the gall to act all surprised and pleased, telling her he was just about to kill these pirates for her, as if he's doing her a favor. He asks why she came back with this slimy, possessive tone, and Nami, with her staff held firm, just says it plain. I came to kill you.
The sheer nerve, the audacity of that statement. She just watched him take down Zoro and Sanji without breaking a sweat. She knows better than anyone what he's capable of, and still she stands there and declares her intent to kill him.
Arlong just laughs in her face, a big, booming, contemptuous laugh. He completely dismisses her. He starts listing off all the times she tried to kill him over the past 8 years. He details it. Assassination attempts while he slept, poison in his food, surprise attacks, all failures.
He's not just mocking her. He's reminding her of her own powerlessness. He's systematically dismantling her courage by recounting her history of failure against him. He says it's impossible for a human to kill him. It's not just a taunt. In his mind, it's a biological fact. It's like a human trying to punch a tidal wave.
And then he lays out his terms, and it gets even more sickening. He's not going to kill her. He's not going to let her escape. She will be his cartographer forever. He says he's an understanding guy and doesn't want to chain her up because that would be unseemly. So it would be better for everyone if she just joined him willingly.
The psychology of that is so twisted and so realistic for an abuser. He's framing her eternal servitude as a favor he's doing for her, as a kindness. He's presenting the cage as a comfortable home and telling her she should be grateful he's not using a lock. It's about control, making her feel like her submission is her own choice.
And then comes the offer, the final turn of the screw. He gestures to the beaten villagers, to her friends, to everyone. He says he's going to kill everyone here, unless Nami rejoins him as his cartographer. If she comes back to his side right now, he'll spare Kokoyashi village. He'll let them live.
But not Zoro and Sanji. He makes that explicit. They made him angry, so they still have to die. He's not offering a clean slate. He's offering a compromise drenched in blood.
He's forcing her to choose between the lives of her friends, the people who just sailed across the sea for her, and the lives of her entire village, everyone she grew up with, her family. He's making her complicit in the execution of the only people who tried to help her. No matter what she chooses, she will have to live with the blood of people she cares about on her hands.
He asks her which side she's on, him or the pirates. He points out that her strongest fighters are down, that losing is inevitable. It's a perfectly constructed trap with no good outcome. It is designed to make her feel utterly alone and powerless, forcing her to sacrifice one part of her heart to save another.
Nami is just frozen. You can see the agony on her face. A single word from her decides everything. The lives of everyone she's ever known or the lives of the people who showed her true friendship. The past versus the future.
And in that moment of unbearable pressure, she remembers Luffy. We get a flashback panel to him putting his hat on her head. Not a command, not a demand, a gesture of trust, a promise. His promise that he would save her. That hat is her anchor in this storm of impossible choices.
The villagers are getting angry, shouting that Arlong is just forcing her into this anyway, that it's not a real choice. But Nami tunes it all out. She's in her own head. She thinks to herself that she can't doubt her friends. Not now, not after they came this far for her.
So she makes her choice, a third option. She turns away from Arlong, faces the villagers, her family, the people she spent 8 years trying to save, and she apologizes. "I'm sorry." Then she asks them, "Would you die with me?"
Chills. Absolute chills. Every single time I read that. That line is everything. She's not choosing the pirates over the village. She's not choosing the village over the pirates. She's choosing to put her faith in Luffy, a faith so absolute that she is willing to bet everyone's life on it. And she's asking her village to share that faith, even if it means annihilation.
And they do. There's a moment of silence, and then they all scream in approval. Genzo, Nojiko, the whole village, no hesitation. Their trust in her after everything is absolute. They are ready to follow her to their deaths.
That is the ultimate rebuke to Arlong. His entire plan was based on the idea that people are selfish, that they'll do anything to survive. He tried to isolate her, to break her with an impossible choice, and her response was to unify everyone against him in a bond of shared defiance. She took his no-win scenario and turned it into a declaration of war from everyone. It's one of the most powerful moments in the series so far.
A bond he could never comprehend. He rules by fear, by transactional power. They are bound by love and trust, forged through shared history and sacrifice. It's an ideological victory before the physical one has even begun.
And right on cue, the universe rewards that faith. As the village roars, we cut back underwater to Luffy. His eyes snap open and he shoots a geyser of water out of his mouth. He's back. The captain is online.
The timing is perfect. It's as if their collective will, their roar of defiance, reached him at the bottom of the sea and shocked him back to life. Sanji sees the air bubbles and says the plan worked. All they need to do is free his legs.
Zoro gets it immediately. He and Sanji, battered and bleeding, struggle back to their feet. And Zoro, leaning on his swords just to stay upright, looks at Sanji and just says, "You've got 30 seconds. I can't last any longer than that."
The trust, the absolute unspoken trust between them. Zoro isn't guessing, he's assessed his own physical state, the wounds from Mihawk still screaming at him, the new damage from Arlong, and he has calculated his absolute limit, 30 seconds. He is going to hold off Arlong, a monster who took both of them out with water, to buy 30 seconds of time.
Sanji doesn't even question it. No, are you sure? No, can you do it? He just says, "That's more time than I need," and dives straight into the pool. This is what a real crew does. This is the monster trio being born right here. They know their roles, they know each other's limits, and they trust each other with their lives without a second thought.
Arlong sees it happening, of course. He's not an idiot. He sees Sanji dive and realizes Luffy is back. He starts to move towards the water to intersect.
But Zoro steps up. He plants himself between Arlong and the pool. He calls him a half-fish mutant just to piss him off and draw his full, undivided attention. He's actively making himself the target. It's tactical taunting at its finest.
And it works. Arlong is furious, his eyes bulging. He roars, reminding Zoro he warned him not to use that name. And while he's distracted, fuming at Zoro, Usopp makes his grand re-entrance.
Yes! From the hole in the wall made when Sanji was knocked through it by Kurobi earlier, a single Tamago Boshi, a rotten egg star, comes flying out and smacks Arlong right in the face. It's Usopp! He found his way back to the main fight.
He's shouting that he's there to back Zoro up. Johnny and Yosaku are stunned, wondering where this brave sniper came from. They last saw him running for his life. They're witnessing his evolution in real time.
And Usopp, in classic, perfect, never-change Usopp fashion, immediately turns to Nami and starts bragging that he took down one of Arlong's officers all by himself. He just can't help it. The timing is terrible. Zoro's about to get murdered, but he needs that validation. His heart is in the right place.
Down in the water, Sanji is a human torpedo closing in on Luffy. Genzo asks Luffy if he can just pull himself out now that he's awake, but Luffy says he can't feel any strength in his body. Being submerged has completely drained him. He's completely dependent on Sanji.
Sanji knows it. He's thinking to himself, "I'm counting on you, Luffy. You're our only hope." The entire fate of the island, the lives of the villagers, Nami's freedom, it's all on Sanji's shoulders for these next 30 seconds to get that rock off Luffy's feet.
But it's never that simple in One Piece. Just as Sanji is about to reach him, a shadow falls over them. The panel shows a massive looming figure underwater. Hachan, the six-armed swordsman, is getting up.
No, not Hachi, the one Zoro already beat. He was down for the count, but he's getting back up. His eyes are wide and he says he won't let them do as they please. And that's where the chapter ends, on that impossible image.
Of course, another officer stands in the way. The clock is ticking for Zoro on the surface. He has maybe 25 seconds left. And now a new clock is started for Sanji underwater with a six-armed swordsman in his way.
What a cliffhanger. Oda is the absolute master of raising the stakes second by second. Just when you think they have a plan, a clear path to victory, another obstacle appears and it's the worst possible one for the situation. It's brilliant and I hate him for it.
Before we get to what might happen next, Oda's author comment for this week was an interesting little slice of life.
Oh yeah? What's he up to while he's emotionally destroying us?
He says, the CD player on the stereo set I just bought last year broke. I called the repairman and he fixed it. Thank goodness.
That's amazing. He's in the middle of writing one of the most emotionally devastating and hype-filled arcs in the story, a chapter literally titled Die, and he's just worried about his CD player. That's so grounding. I love it. It makes you remember he's just a regular guy who happens to be a genius at crafting soul-crushing cliffhangers.
It's a good reminder of the person behind the pages, just living his life while creating this epic.
That moment with the villagers, though, all of them shouting and choosing to stand with Nami, man, I really want to hear from you all on this. Let us know in the comments what you felt right there. That feels like a core, defining One Piece moment to me. It's not about a punch, it's about a choice.
It absolutely is. It's the thesis statement of the entire arc, the power of bonds against the tyranny of fear. So with that, what do you think happens next? Let's get into some predictions.
Okay, prediction 1. Sanji has to fight Hachan underwater, and it's an awful, awful matchup. Sanji's an air-based fighter. All his power comes from his legs, from pushing off the ground. Underwater, his kicks are going to be slow, telegraphed, and have way less power. Meanwhile, Hachi is an octopus fishman who uses 6 swords. He's in his element. But Sanji won't have a choice. He's going to have to use his wits, maybe use the environment, kick off the stone block Luffy is on, maybe try some clever water pressure kicks to get past him fast. It's going to be ugly.
That seems very likely. The environment is completely against him. My first prediction is a bit different, building on that. I think Hachan getting up isn't just a physical obstacle. I think he's going to try to talk to Sanji or say something that complicates things. We've seen that Hachan is, well, not the brightest, but he seems more naive and less malicious than Arlong or Chu. Maybe after his honorable fight with Zoro and now seeing Arlong's willingness to slaughter everyone, he's having second thoughts. He might say something like, Arlong-san has gone too far, or try to stop Sanji for a reason other than pure loyalty.
Ooh, I like that. A moral complication, not just a physical one. That would be very Oda. Okay, my second prediction. Zoro is going to hold Arlong off for way longer than 30 seconds, but he's going to pay a heavy, heavy price for it. We know his wounds for Mihawk are still a major issue. That slash across his chest is not healed. I think he's going to push himself so far past his limit, maybe reopening that wound completely, that he collapses the absolute second Sanji frees Luffy. He's not buying time with stamina, he's buying it with his life force. He'll succeed, but he'll be out of the rest of the fight.
That fits his character perfectly. He's always willing to trade his own well-being for the crew's victory. My second prediction is that we're finally going to get a proper explanation and a named technique for what Arlong used on Zoro and Sanji. Johnny just said he threw some water, but that seems too vague for a signature fighting style. I think in the next chapter, as he fights Zoro, we'll see him cup some water in his hands, maybe harden it with pressure, and unleash a named fishman karate or fishman jujitsu move, like a water shot or shark arrow or something. And we'll see, from Zoro's perspective, exactly how devastating it is. It's not just splashing, it's a legitimate martial art, and that will make Arlong even more intimidating.
Yeah, a proper reveal of his fighting style. We need to see what the crew is really up against. That would be super. The tension is just unbearable. Luffy is so close to being free, but every single member of the crew is running on fumes or facing an impossible matchup.
And as we've been reminded again and again in this chapter, Arlong hasn't even started trying yet. He's been playing. The real fight is about to begin. And that is where we will have to leave it for this week.
What a chapter! Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our breakdown of Chapter 89. Until then, I'm Franky.
And I'm Robin. This has been Inherited Dawn.